The story begins in the year 1235. We are shown a Christian city where many people have gathered near a bridge. 3 women are to be executed there. These women are accused of practicing black magic and worshiping the devil. It was a time when women were punished for such accusations. Soldiers put ropes around the necks of the 3 women. A man holding an old book tells them that if they confess their sins, their souls will be forgiven. One of the women, who was crying a lot and pleading for her life, says, "Yes, I confess. I worshipped the devil and tried to practice black magic." The second woman says, "I only made and sent medicines. I never practiced black magic." But the third woman showed no fear at all and said, looking at the priest, "You will burn in hell." After that, all 3 women are hanged, and their bodies are submerged in water. Everyone begins to leave. Then the priest tells the soldiers, "We cannot leave them like this. We need to retrieve these bodies so I can read spells from my ancient book." But the soldiers say, "They won't come back to life," and they leave. The priest knew about this curse, so in the evening, he starts pulling the bodies out of the water one by one, attempting to purify them with spells. When he is retrieving the third body, the weight of the corpse is so heavy that he falls into the water himself. As he emerges from the water, the third woman comes back to life, but in the form of a devil. She burns his book and hangs the priest from that same bridge. This is where the scene cuts. After this, the story progresses 100 years ahead. Now we see that Christianity is spreading all over the world, and significant battles are taking place. Among these battles, 2 Christian warriors were also involved. They were friends, one named Bauman and the other Felsen. Both were very powerful warriors and fought for many years in the name of religion. They had fought many battles and had never given up until today. During the battle at Marna in 144, these people attack a city and take it over. But during this time, Bauman sees that the lives of children and women are in danger. By mistake, Bauman's sword takes the life of an innocent girl, and seeing this, his heart melts, and he stops his fight right there. Bauman says he had sworn to fight for God, not to kill children and innocents. The Grand Master responds in anger that you will do as the church wishes. You are just a lowly soldier. The voice of God echoes in my ears. In reply, Bauman angrily says that perhaps it is not the voice of God that is echoing in your ears. Bauman and Felsen decide to leave the church. The Grand Master threatens them, saying they can't leave like this. They must fulfill their vows. But no one can stop them, and both leave that place, becoming outlaws for breaking the church's rules. After this, they spend a month looking for a new shelter. One day, while passing by the seashore, they come across some cattle wandering without a shepherd. As they move ahead, they see a house. When they enter that house, it is empty. Upon searching the house, they find out about the owner. There is a woman in a terrible condition, and her husband is found dead in bed. Both had lost their lives due to a dangerous illness, and their whole bodies were decayed because of the disease. Bauman and Felsen set fire to the house to prevent the spread of the illness. On the way, Felsen asks Bauman that they have endured a lot, but what can a person do to avoid such a death? Moving forward, they see a big city. Felsen says they might get caught. They shouldn't go into the city, but Bauman says they need food supplies and good horses to make a long journey. Out of necessity, both decide to enter the city. As soon as they reach the city, Bauman and Felsen see strange conditions. The people here are in very bad shape. In the streets, corpses lay scattered while people were crying and screaming, seeking forgiveness for their sins. Some were even committing suicide. Felsen remarks, "What kind of madness is this?" Just then, a man standing nearby overhears him and responds, "This is a pandemic, a disease for which there is no cure. This illness has spread here for the last 3 years, and 1 in every 4 people is dying because of it." The man's name was Iqbal. He asks both of them, "Who are you?" Bahman replies, "We are travelers, and we know nothing about this." Both were Christian knights, but no one stopped them when they tried to buy horses. One man notices Bahman's sword, which belonged to knights. As this news spreads, the city's soldiers learn that these 2 are actually knights who have fled from the war. The soldiers come to capture them, and Bahman and Felsen fight them, but ultimately, they surrender. They are brought before the cardinal, who has also fallen victim to this illness and is lying in bed. The cardinal asks for their names, and upon hearing them, he is surprised and says, "I know you both. Your stories of victory are famous far and wide." The cardinal then explains that the pandemic is decimating their people. In fact, it is a curse sent from hell, cast upon them by a sorceress through black magic. The sorceress has now been captured and has admitted to this. The cardinal goes on to say that there is only one way to end this curse. The sorceress must be taken to the church in Seva, where the monks can lift the curse. Behaman asks, "What do I have to do with this?" The cardinal replies, "This is work we cannot undertake, but if you help, the sorceress can be brought to Seva. Would you be willing to serve the church?" Behaman categorically refuses to take on this task. After her refusal, Cardinal Felsen and Behmen are both imprisoned in the same dungeon. There's also a girl in that cell. When they see her, Felsen asks if she is the witch. Behmen replies that she doesn't look like one at all. That night, Behmen has a terrible dream in which he is taking the life of an innocent woman. When he opens his eyes, he sees that the girl who was crying has scars around her waist, as if someone had beaten her badly. Seeing this, Behemon's intentions change. He decides to go on this mission not for the church, but to save that girl. The next day, they meet with a priest and say, "We will help you, but justice must be served for this girl, and any charges against us must be cleared." A famous soldier also joins them on this journey, and the priest has a map. But it was a journey of 900 miles, passing through the hills where the church was located. Behmen and Felsen cannot rely solely on the map, so they look for someone who has been there before and has returned, someone who remembers the way. The priest takes them to a man who has been imprisoned for the crime of deception. Behmen makes a deal with him. "If you take us to the church, the charges against you will be dropped." He was ready for this. Now they were on their way, accompanied by the priest, a soldier, and a guide. They were to take the girl in a cart made of advice. When they go to the dungeon to get her, she attacks them, but Felsen knocks her unconscious, and then they take her away. As they exit the city, the cardinal there also dies. As they travel, the man who was guiding them keeps looking at the girl and asks the priest if she is deceiving them. The priest explains to him to focus his attention elsewhere. "She's just trying to scare you." The man asks, "How do you know this girl is a sorceress and the one who curses?" The priest replies, "This was found in the village, discussing things that no one could understand. As soon as it was brought to our city, a pandemic broke out. Everywhere it passed, there was the same situation. The villagers say they haven't heard of any girl coming to our village, yet the pandemic has reached there." While moving, conversations occur between Behmen and Felsen. Felsen says someone is following us. When they stop, they catch him. The priest says he is an agent working for the cardinal, and his name is Kay. Behmen says it would be better for you to leave here, but Kay insists he wants to go with them and serve everyone in return for being Mennonite. Felsen laughs him off, but then a little later, a fight breaks out where he cannot defeat Felsen, but he fights back fiercely. This impresses Behmen, and he includes him in this journey. Behemon's and Felsen's fights are praised. When Behmen goes to give food and a blanket to the girl, she tells him, "You are not like everyone else. You are a good person." Then she asks what will happen to me in the morning. Behmen replies justice will be served. The girl narrates a story about a woman in our village who was accused of black magic. People filled her pockets with stones and drowned her in water. They said if the woman drowned, she was a human, and if she didn't drown, she was a witch. The woman did not drown and was burned alive. Behmen assures her that nothing like this will happen with us, and she points to the priest. Behmen asks, "Did the priest hurt you?" The girl shakes her head and replies yes. When Behmen returns, the priest asks him what she said. Behmen says, "Why do you want to know?" The priest advises him not to reveal the secrets of his heart to her. Do not trust her words. She is very cunning. She can divide us. Then to spend a night, they stop in the forest. The priest says to everyone that we will have to keep watch. Kot is watching the girl. A few hours later, when the priest comes to him, Kot says, "This girl looks like my daughter." On hearing this, the girl becomes sad. Just as Kot was about to leave, the girl started crying. She says, "Don't leave me alone with this priest." Kot asks, "Why are you afraid of him?" The girl grabs Kot, trying to save him. As the priest approaches, the girl injures the priest's hand and takes the key from his neck and runs away. On hearing the commotion, Bayman and Falson arrive there. When they ask the priest what happened, he tells them that the girl escaped. They all go to the nearby village to catch her. An epidemic had spread in that village too. There weren't many people there, and those who were there were sick. Then the girl tries to use her powers. As soon as Ekta approaches her, he thinks she looks like his daughter and moves towards her, so Kay thinks he might be coming to kill her. He draws his sword, and as a result, Kot dies. Seeing this, Kay gets very panicked and repeatedly says, "What have I done?" They weren't stopping. I told them a lot, but they were approaching me, calling me Mira. In the meantime, the girl also finds them and crying says, "Don't take me back. I had to run away from there because he was treating me badly." In fact, she was referring to the priest's death, and everyone was very sad. The next morning, the girl is once again captured in the cart, and they begin their journey towards Savor. But before leaving, the priest tells Bayman, "You and everyone else should not speak your written words in front of the witch because she can use these words against us." Last night, Akat was talking about his daughter, and the witch heard that. While walking, they stop in front of an old rope and wooden bridge. One man says that he came here 910 years ago, and at that time the bridge was in good condition. But now it has become very weak. Crossing it is not without danger, especially when they have a heavy cart. Still, they decide to cross the bridge and slowly pull the cart forward, tying it with rope. During this, the bridge begins to break, and Kay barely escapes death, but the girl somehow saves his life. They manage to cross the bridge, but as soon as they reach the other side, the bridge completely collapses. After crossing the bridge, they enter a dangerous forest where the path is not visible at all. Out of necessity, they decide to spend the night in the jungle. At night, Bayman goes to the girl and thanks her for saving his life on the bridge. However, the girl starts talking in a way that makes Bayman suspicious of her. In the middle of the night, Bayman wakes up because he was having a bad dream. Upon waking, he sees a man standing by the cart with a weapon. Bayman gets startled and says, "Because of this, we will all die. Kill it and get rid of it. No one will stop us." Just then, Falson comes there and snatches the weapon from the man's hand. At that same time, the girl is overhearing their conversation. Suddenly, she starts making wolf-like sounds. Before anyone can understand anything, the wolves attack them. While escaping from the wolves, one of them becomes prey, and they are unable to save him. This makes Bayman very sad. The next morning, he decides to kill the girl, but the priest intervenes and says, "I won't let you do that." Bayman pushes him away. Just then, Falson arrives and tells Bayman, "The destination is near. We have reached the break." Bayman changes his mind and continues his journey toward the church. On the way, Falson says, "When all this is over, I would like to go to the place where I was born." When they reach the church, they see that all the monks there have died due to the epidemic. The father picks up a prayer book, and now he is left all alone. He tries to chant some spells over the girl. But then the girl's true secret is revealed. She starts recounting everyone's past. Bayman realizes that he is trying to save an innocent girl's life to hide his own sins so that he doesn't go to hell. The girl says that more people died in wars fought in the name of religion than from the pandemic. At that moment, the priest understands that this girl is not a sorceress, but rather her body is possessed by a demon. The priest begins to perform an exorcism on her, but the demon slowly starts to reveal its true form. It burns down all the bars and flies away, entering the church. Here, everyone realizes that the demon wanted us to bring it to this place. This is why it killed a priest and a guide, because they were coming in its way. When these people reach the church, they find that all the monks there have died. They had been copying a book for years because the demon could only be defeated with this particular book. Now the book the priest had was the last book in the world with which the demon could be destroyed. Bayman tells the priest that he must fight this battle alone. Falson asks if we are fighting the devil or saving this girl. Bayman replies both. As they enter the church, the devil appears before them. Bayman tells the priest to begin his exorcism. The devil uses its powers and starts lifting things into the air and throwing them at them. After a while, all the monks who were dead there disappear, and the demonic powers take over their bodies. Now they attack as slaves of the devil. The priest is reading the book, but just then the devil kills him, and the book falls to the ground. Then Falson comes and starts to fight the demon, but the demon overpowers him. Kate takes the book and starts reading it further. Just as the devil was about to attack him, Bayman intervenes and stops it, pinning its wings against the wall. The demon uses its powers and tries to kill the dishonest one, but he does not give up. When the spell is complete, the demon goes back to hell, and the innocent girl returns to her true form. In this fight, only Kay and that girl survive. Everyone else is killed. They both bury all of them right there. Then the girl thanks the dishonest one and his companions for saving her life and pulling her out of the darkness. She leaves with Kay, full of hope, and this is where the story ends. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel.